Hi everyone, today we're going to work on our ACT math test, and this is from the ACT December 2021 released test. It's 60 questions in 60 minutes, but we're just going to work on the first 10 questions, which should be easier than the later questions. So our first question is, for all non-zero values of x and y, which of the following expressions is equivalent to negative 35x to the power of 5 times y to the power of 4 over 5xy? So this is an expressions question, and so first off, 35 divided by 5 is 7. So we can cross out d, we can cross out e. Next, we have to know our exponent rules. When you divide exponents, you subtract. So in this case, you subtract the like terms. So x5, y4 over x, y, and the ones. So you would subtract for x, you subtract 5 minus 1 equals 4, which means it's x to the power of 4. For y, you subtract 4 minus 1 equals 3, which equals y to the power 2 cubed. So the answer is A, negative 7, x to the power of 4 times y cubed. So question 2 is, the degree measures of the three angles of the triangle below are expressed in terms of x. What is the value of x? So we have angle 5x, 4x, and 6x. So to solve this, we need to know the rule. And the rule is all angles of a triangle should always equal up to 180 degrees. Always. Which means these three angles, 5x, 4x, and 6x, should all equal up to 180. So combine like terms and we get 15x equals 180. And then we divide and we get x equals 12. So it's G. So this is super easy. Just plug it in and go. Just so you know that all angles of a triangle add up to 180. So our next question. A 48.5 ounce batch of cologne will be used to fill empty bottles. Each full bottle will contain 0.35 ounces of cologne. This batch of cologne will fill at most how many full bottles of cologne? So to do this, this is a very simple division problem. So you just divide 48.5 over 0.35, and you should get 138.57. But this is 4 bottles of cologne. So the 0.57 isn't a full bottle. Our whole number is 138, which is D. So this is a very easy division problem. It just requires you to read the question carefully. 4. Of the 200 parking spaces in a parking lot, 6% of those spaces are reserved for handicapped parking. Of those parking spaces not reserved for handicapped parking, 20 are suitable for compact cars only. How many spaces that are not reserved for handicapped parking are suitable for non-compact cars? So this is a percentages problem. So it's asking you for non-handicapped, non-compact, and it says 6% are handicapped. So the percentage that isn't is 100 minus 6, which is 94%. So to find that number, you do 200 minus 0.94, and that should give you 188. And then it says that 20 are compact, so we need to subtract the compact to get our non-compact. We just get 168. So 168 non-compact, not handicapped. That's G. So this is very simple percentages, and it's a word problem, so it can be tricky to figure out what they're asking for. But it's very fast and simple. Our next question is, what is the value of 2 times absolute value of 2 minus 9 minus 3 times 5 plus 4? So again, this is also a very simple question. You just need to realize that absolute value means there's no negative. So PEMDAS also, we do parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So 2 times the absolute value of 2 minus 9, which is negative 7, because absolute value is just 7. So times 7 minus 3. 5 plus 2 is also 7. And then 2 times 7 is 14, minus 3 times 7 is 21. And you should get your answer, which is negative 7. E. So then, very easy. You can do this in your head. You can also plug into Desmos. Question 6. Ricardo started a savings account for his daughter Ruth by depositing $500 into the account for her first birthday. For each successive birthday, Ricardo deposits $201, then the amount deposited for the previous birthday. This is the only money deposited into the account. What is the total amount of money Ricardo will have deposited into the account for Ruth up to and including his 6th birthday? So this is a pattern in sequences. You're doing calculator, but basically it's 500 on his first birthday to understand what it's asking. And then you add, so for each successive birthday, Ricardo deposits 200 more than the amount deposited for the previous birthday. So the previous birthday was 500, so you add 200 more on his second birthday. And for a third birthday, the previous amount would have been 700. So you add 200 onto that for a third birthday. Fourth birthday, it would have been 900 plus 200 for fourth birthday. For fifth birthday, it would have been 1,100 plus 200 fifth birthday, and then it counts up to and including the 6th. So that means plus 1,300 plus 200 for his 6th birthday. You put that into your calculator, and it should be $6,000. So K. So it's very easy. Number 7. Tawana bought a used car. She made an initial payment of $700. She then made 38 equal monthly payments. The total amount Tawana paid for the car was $7,000. What was the amount of each of her monthly payments? So initial payment, $700. Then she paid 36 equal payments, which is what we're solving for, the X. And this ended up costing her $7,000. So to solve for X, we do 7,000 minus 700, which is 6,300, and then divided by 36, which is 175. That would be your answer. This is a very simple solving questions problem. So next we have our matrices problem. So which of the following matrices is equal to 9, 2, negative 4, 1, plus negative 6, 8, 7, 6. So matrices are actually very easy to solve. It's just some people might not know how to solve them, but you just add 9 plus negative 6, 2 plus 8, negative 4 plus 7, 1 plus 6. So 9 plus negative 6 equals 3. 2 plus 8 equals 10. Negative 4 plus 7 equals 3. 1 plus 6 equals 7. So you have 3, 10, 3, 7. So your answer is H. And the fractional matrices is the same. You can also, I'm pretty sure, use decimals in your calculator. But it's much easier to do it in your head. Just go 9 plus -6 and etc. So question 9. Lyle and Ming are painting in art room. They started with 4 gallons of paint. On the first day, Lyle used 1/2 gallon of paint, and Ming used 1 1/4 gallons of paint. How many gallons of paint were left when they completed the first day of painting? So this is a very simple fractions question. So out of the 4, it's 4 gallons of paint minus 1/2 gallon plus, to make this an improper fraction, 1 1/4 gallons is also equal to 5/4. And then for this, you just make the same denominator, so 1/2 is equal to 2/4 plus 5/4 equals 7/4. And then 4 would be equal to 16/4. And 16 minus 7 equals 9/4. And 9/4, because these are all proper fractions, equals 2 1/4. That's your real answer, B. So again, you can just plug this one into the calculator and be done with it. So sorry, this is not the correct information. So we're going to solve this correctly. Question 10. In the standard xy coordinate plane, what is the slope of the line through -3, 1, and 5, 6? So we use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So x1 is here, y1 is here, x2 is here, y2 is here. So y2, 6 minus y1, 1 over x2, 5 minus x1, which is -3. And this should be 5/8, which is H. That's your correct answer. Very easy. You can do that in your head as well. Just like do this in your head. It's very easy, very fast. It's recommended since the first 30 questions of the math section are usually a lot easier than the last 30. And because there's 60 questions, 60 minutes, it's usually recommended to do your first 30 questions in less than 30 minutes so you have time to finish your harder questions. And when we went over our first 10 questions, they definitely seemed really easy and it seemed very capable to do it in less than 10 minutes. So that is it, and I hope you learned a lot, and we're going to do our next 10 next time. Bye.